welcome to my YouTube channel. For those of you who are new, welcome. For those of you who are returning, welcome back. I'm Brianna. This is my channel. Most people know me as Brianna Moore. That is my handle on Instagram and on Twitter. Other people know me as Dollface PA. In today's video, I want to talk about the PANRE-LA. A lot of people really have a lot of questions about recertification. Obviously, I did a video a long time ago about how I passed my boards, which was the PANCE. That's the initial test that you have to sit for. But when it's time to recertify, which you do have to do that every 10 years, you have two options. And I kind of wanted to talk about those two options and which one I'm doing. But before I get started on that, one of my subscribers asked a question that I wanted to address. He or she asked if I could talk more about how I got into interventional and structural cardiology. That question was asked on my last video where I did a day in the life at work. And if you haven't seen that video, please go check that video out. So if I'm honest, and I think I probably said this in one of my prior videos, like when I first started this job almost 3 years ago, when I moved out of New York City. The truth of the matter is that I never, ever thought I would be working in cardiology. I hated cardiology all throughout school. And I think the real reason why I hated it so much is because I was fearful of it. Cardiology was always very difficult for me. I really struggled with cardiology. EKGs, understanding rhythms, everything. It was just very hard for me. And so I kind of had an aversion to cardiology or anything cardiac related. I would just be like, oh, I hate it. Oh my gosh, no. So you could have never ever convinced me that I would be working in cardiology. But the truth is, I was moving from New York to live with my fiance, who is now my husband, and the job market was skimp. And it was really hard to get a job, much to my surprise. I mean, you think that as a PA, there's so much job security and you'll always have a job, but we live in a really saturated place and there just were not that many available jobs. And if I'm just being completely candid and completely transparent, it was what was available at the time and I needed a job. So I applied to it just like, oh my gosh, I'm probably gonna hate this, but here we go. And lo and behold, I got the job. I actually did get offered another job as well in the ICU at one of our competing hospitals, but the schedule of my current job was much better than the schedule of what I was gonna be working as an intensivist PA. And so I ultimately went with the interventional and structural cardiology position. And no, I did not have any real cardiac experience. I didn't have any interest in cardiology. It was what was available. And I was in training and onboarding, what they call it, for about 3 to 6 months. And it was very intense. It was truly one of the hardest things I've ever done in my career. The learning curve was so steep, coming from a hospitalist background and just really like super subspecializing in my field. It was really difficult. I was very stressed out when I first started my job. There will be some days where I'm like, I really don't think I can do this. I don't think I'm smart enough for this. I don't like this. I don't enjoy this. But with time, I had like a lot of help and a lot of very supportive coworkers and mentors, and you learn it. You learn the information. You really just learn it by doing it. You learn how to read EKGs by looking at EKGs. You learn how to identify things by seeing them. So it's really kind of like trial by fire. And once I started to get more comfortable in the role, I really started to like it, which just confirmed what I suspected all along. Was the whole reason why I thought I didn't like cardiology is just because I wasn't good at it. Because once I started to become competent and confident in my ability to work in that part of medicine, I really began to enjoy it and I love it. I never thought like I would come to love the role, but I absolutely love the role. I love my team. I love what I do. It's incredible. I feel very blessed to be a part of that team. So I hope that answers that question. And honestly, I've, again, never expected to make a long-term career out of cardiology, but I feel like because of how hard I work to become proficient in cardiology, I don't really see myself leaving cardiology. Even if I were to, leave my current job, I probably would want to stay in cardiology, just because I had to work so hard to cultivate the skill set that is required to be a competent provider in this space. I would feel like everything that I've worked for was kind of for nothing if I just transitioned out into another field. So I'll probably stick with cardiology, but who knows what the future holds. Just like I said, I would never do cardiology, and here I am. So I'm open to whatever the future holds. So back to the topic at hand. There's the PANRE versus the PANRE-LA. I'm gonna put a little excerpt on the screen so you can kind of quickly see the breakdown. So PANRE just means Physician Assistant National Recertification Exam, and then PANRE-LA with the LA at the end means the same but longitudinal assessment. And I'm gonna briefly run through the differences between the two. PANRE is very similar to your PANCE. It is a 5-hour test. It's 240 questions. You have to go to a Pearson location to take the test. You get the results 2 weeks later. You can qualify for the test in your 9th or 10th year, right before you're redue for certification. PANRE-LA is much different. PANRE-LA is an open book at-home test that you complete over 12 quarters, over a 3-year period, and it starts in the 7th year of your cycle. So I got certified as a PA in 2018. So the 7th year of my cycle was 2025. So I actually started the PANRE-LA at the beginning of 2025. You have 25 questions to answer each quarter, and you do it at your own pace. As long as you finish all 25 questions by the end of the quarter, you can log in and log out as many times as you need to finish the questions. You get immediate feedback. You know right away whether or not the question was right, you answered it correctly or incorrectly, and your overall score is calculated after 8 quarters. And so it's possible to pass after 8 quarters and not even have to do all 12 quarters as long as you pass 8. And I think you can skip quarters in between if you'd like. You don't have to do all 8 consecutively through. You can skip, like, let's say I didn't want to do Q1 of this year. I could just do Q2, Q3, Q4 questions. I hope that makes sense. The nice thing about PANRE-LA is that if for any reason you don't pass it, you do still qualify to sit for the PANRE test, so it's not like you lose your certification. In terms of cost, both tests cost $350. I'm not really sure. Employers vary, but my employer considers it continued licensure, so they pay for it. I did choose to do the PANRE-LA option. I did like the flexibility of doing it at my own pace, doing it at home. I really don't love the idea of standardized tests where I'm sitting down for 5 hours taking a test like that. It's very anxiety evoking, and to me, sometimes that detracts from my actual knowledge base and it affects my performance on the test. And so this option was better for me because it just allowed me to kind of just go at my own pace and do things my own way. Another nice thing about the PANRE-LA is that for each quarter that you complete, it provides 2 Category 1 CME credits. And so that's really nice. If you are gonna choose to do the PANRE-LA, I think it is very important to really review the NCCPA's security policies surrounding the exam. While it is open book, there are specific rules surrounding that. You cannot under any circumstance take the test with the help of another person. You are not allowed to screenshot questions, nothing like that. I mean, this is an honor system. You really do have to take the test without anyone else around you, without the input of anyone else. If you are gonna use a search engine of some sort, you are not permitted to copy and paste the question or copy and paste answers into the search engine directly. You cannot do that. And I would really recommend that you truly read through all of the policies and ensure that you understand them, because if there is any suspicion that there's been a breach of these policies or violation of these policies of any sort, you will forfeit the test and it will fail you. And so I wouldn't play around with it. They track IP addresses, all the things. It's the real deal. Just take the test and answer the questions to the best of your ability. I can honestly say I did not prepare for any of the questions that I've taken at all. I just go in there blindly and just take them and do my best. And I've been passing every quarter so far. After the first quarter, it tells you your score and it tells you what scores needed to pass and how you are doing in reference to the national average. And so you have an idea as you're going along, like, okay, am I passing? How am I doing? And what I will tell you is that it's doable. You can answer the questions without having to do a refresher course or anything like that. And I think that's why I appreciate the PANRE-LA so much, because it breaks it down in a way where it doesn't feel as overwhelming. Granted, yes, you will miss some questions, but you'll see that as you go back, sometimes questions get thrown out. If they perform poorly for everyone, they'll throw the questions out. But overall, the PANRE-LA has worked great for me. I'm actually in my 6th quarter now. So God willing, I pass this one. I'll only have to do 2 more, then I'll be recertified for another 10 years, which is crazy because I can't even believe that I'm almost recertified already, that I've almost been a PA for 10 years. That's wild. But that's a very brief overview about recertification. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'll answer them to the best of my ability. I encourage you to do what works best for you. I have a coworker who absolutely did not want to do the PANRE-LA, so she went and sat for the test. She paid for like one of those refresher boot camp courses. She went to for like a day, I think, and then went and took the test. Like maybe she took the test shortly after. I don't know if the test was the next day, or the test was very close in proximity to when she did the boot camp, and she passed the PANRE with flying colors. And so I think it's a personal preference. I don't think there's any one right answer. You ultimately just have to do what works best for you. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye.